the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. FindTheChange.org, link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. Everybody know what's been happening as far as what's going on in the Amazon and the wildfires that have been taking place. An unprecedented number of fires. We're talking about thousands of fires at a time that are happening, causing plumes of smoke that can be seen from space across South America, across the Atlantic Ocean. So it's getting real. The United Nations is actually calling for protection of the rainforest. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres saying it's like a major source of oxygen and biodiversity. Action must take place. The French president Emmanuel Macron is actually saying that this should be a top priority. It's calling it an international crisis. It's saying it should be a top priority in the upcoming G7 summit in Paris. The indigenous people are accusing the Brazilian president of sanctioning this, since like they said that the fires were deliberately started by cattle ranchers and miners. Keep in mind that this is a president that was quoted in '98 as saying that it's a shame that Brazilian cavalry can't take care of the indigenous people like the Americans when they exterminated the Indians. You know what I'm saying? Crazy shit like that. So Green Wall and Graduation. Support of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report, man. Make sure you sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. FindTheChange.org, link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716, laying out exactly why you should be removed from the platform. Now, over there in San Francisco, California, the Democratic National Committee actually met to vote. Leaders from the DNC actually voted on whether they were going to have a separate debate for the Democratic presidential candidates on climate change. A lot of people feel like that's necessary, considering that a healthy Earth or an existing Earth is the prerequisite to all of this politics shit anyway. So, like, how can you not have that as a high importance? And they actually voted 8-17. The DNC's resolution committee actually voted 8-17. No, they're not gonna do it. So people were there in an uprising. You had the Sunrise Movement activists that were there, causing an uproar, and a lot of people are upset about it. But it's not the final say so, because this Saturday, the Democratic National Committee is actually supposed to meet as a whole, and they'll be able to vote on it again and possibly could overturn it. This is what happens. Green Wall and Graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition too. Get Donald Trump off Twitter, man. He's been a danger to us, people abroad, U.S. troops, continuously with his rhetoric that he's used on Twitter that he could put out without even being held accountable for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen the damage, we've seen this play out. FindTheChange.org, link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716, and lays out exactly why he should be removed from the platform and more, and violating Twitter policies and all of that. Now, Trump, speaking of which, he's actually heading towards Paris, France for the G7 summit. This is where, you could say the most powerful countries in the world are necessarily meeting. And in this G7 summit, there are a lot of protesters that thousands of people are expected to hit the streets protesting. I mean, people have all sorts of worldwide grievances, you know what I'm saying, from what's been happening in the Amazon to police brutality and crackdowns on protests and shit like that. But 13,000 police are actually set up to guard the summit. So they're really trying to protect against violence. So hopefully there's none that breaks out, because it could start a war. Green Wall and Graduation. Streets Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. FindTheChange.org, link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716, laying out exactly why you should be removed from the platform. I had to throw this umbrella up, because it's coming down a little bit. You know what I mean? The climate is crazy out here. It's very unpredictable, but might just be some regular ass rain. Anyway, in Syria, actually, now I've told y'all in the past how they had the last rebel stronghold on like Idlib, but now it's like, now the talk is about Hama province, and Syrian officials have actually surrounded this small sections of this province, hoping to essentially rid them of the rebels. Now, they said they were going to make a humanitarian corridor to allow for like civilians to leave the siege that's going on over there. But keep in mind, the Syrian offensive is actually backed by Russia, and ever since April, when they clamped down on Idlib and the Hama province, they've actually been over 500 civilians killed, hundreds more wounded, and hundreds of thousands of people have actually fled the area. If you was in your area, you'd be worried if you saw 100 people move out that motherfucker. So just keep that in perspective. Green Wall and Graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. You see, I had to throw the umbrella up, man, so your boy can stay dry, keep the camera right. You know what I'm saying? But make sure y'all sign my petition too. Get Donald Trump on Twitter. You can find that change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. Now, the United Nations actually had a fact-finding panel that determined that back in 2017, when Burmese troops had waged this all-out assault against the Rohingya Muslims, that actually ended up displacing at least 730,000 Rohingya Muslims, where they all fled to like the neighboring Bangladesh and set up refugee camps, and many of them still being there today. You know, thousands of Rohingya Muslims killed or whatever. I talked about this in my world broadcast. I rapped about it and all of that. This panel actually found that they had genocidal intent when they were systematically raping and gang raping these people. You talking about women, children, men, transgenders, and all of that or whatever, and that they should you know, violating international war crimes, and that they should be charged for war crimes. So we'll see if this turns into anything, man. Green War and Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition too. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. How many stories got to come out, man? How many death threats got to be made from people who he demonizes through that platform, man? Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. Lays out, if you don't understand yet, exactly why you should be removed from that platform, including violating Twitter policies. Now, in the Indonesian territory of West Papua, there have been a lot of protests. Thousands of people are actually calling for independence from Indonesia. And as a result, Indonesia actually sent 1,200 troops over there to quell these demonstrations. Now, the latest demonstrations actually stem from these ethnic Papuan students that were actually accused of like desecrating an Indonesian flag. And, you know, nationalists were calling them like, you know, monkeys, dogs, and pigs and all of that. But the incident ended up with security forces going to their dormitories and actually tear gassing them. So it sparked a lot of protests in, you know, like several areas of West Papua. And then it led to people even like setting government buildings on fire and all of that. One fire even burnt down a prison and allowed 250 people to escape. So it's getting wild over there. Stay woke. Green War and Graduation Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. You see, I got this umbrella trying to stay dry out here, so I can see y'all can see me, you dig? Now check this out though, over in Russia. Now I told y'all last month about how they were having these pro-democracy, these calls for democracy, because anytime there's like elections coming up in the Kremlin or even on a citywide level like in Moscow, motherfuckers who oppose the current regime start getting arrested. One of these people that was recently arrested is Alexei Navalny, an outspoken opposition politician who just got freed after 30 days in jail when he was calling for demonstrations to demand democracy. So those demonstrations went on, and Moscow riot police actually cracked down on these demonstrations, actually beating protesters the fuck up, and ended up arresting 800 people. This is after Moscow City Council was like keeping opposition leaders from even running for seats and all of that. So when Navalny got out, he did a little mini press conference basically saying like, you know, this shows proof that there's no support for the current regime and that they are afraid of that. You know what I mean? I thought that was powerful. Green War and Graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. Now, North Korea foreign minister actually was quoted on yesterday, saying that Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State for the United States, actually he called him a diehard toxin. And he said that he's poisonous to the diplomacy that's trying to be attained between, you know, the United States and North Korea. So you got to keep in context that they've been they were supposed to have like denuclearization talks. This is supposed to have been going on since, you know, even before February. But in February, that was when it actually came to a halt, and they weren't able to come to any real agreement. And even when Trump and Kim Jong-un met back in June, they were supposed to resume these talks, but they haven't happened yet. So this foreign minister is apparently blaming Mike Pompeo. Well, what's that about? Green War and Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition too. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin is actually calling for a symmetrical response to the missile testing that was apparently done by the United States earlier or within the past week, which the U.S. is actually saying wasn't a nuclear test. But you know, that's what they say, you know what I mean? And in calling for the symmetrical response, that missile was the first of its kind since that missile test, pardon me, was the first of its kind since Trump actually withdrew the United States from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty of 1987, as supposed to you know, essentially quell the possibility of a nuclear arms race between the U.S. and Russia. But, you know, we'll stay tuned. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of dick measuring going on, you dig? Green War and Graduate. Street supporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition too. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. On the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. Now, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, or Macron, however you pronounce it, he actually is doubling down on his request or his call for a global tax on the tech giants of this world, basically Apple, Google, Amazon, and Facebook. So in calling for this global tax, because he said, you know, basically they, you know, come up with these complex tax evasion schemes, not where it's illegal, but because they're global companies, they're just allowed to, like, not really, as Macron called it, they don't really contribute to the funding of the common good, and that this basically set up is unsustainable. So keep this in context, as like they're actually having the G7 summit in Paris, France this weekend. That's where, you know, the 7 top nations in the world actually meet and discuss policy. So this will be brought up. We'll see what happens though. Green War and Graduate. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition too. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. Now, the BuzzFeed News is actually reporting that the Justice Department's Executive Office for Immigration Review actually sent an email out to all of the U.S. immigration courts that basically had a link to a white nationalist website known as VDare in it, and the link actually was an article that used the anti-Semitic slur to essentially disrespect and you know, disrespect the immigration court judges. So this was quickly condemned by the Justice Department. I'm saying, like, you know, they don't fuck with that anti-Semitism shit in the strongest terms or whatever. They blame the third-party vendor for, you know, whatever the fuck that means. But keep this in context, as like the Justice Department is actually working to decertify the union that represents immigration court judges. The union's actually been protesting the strict quotas they've been putting on the immigration court judges, expecting them to process 700 cases a year and then tying their evaluations into how fast they process the case. Green War and Graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. Had to switch up the scenery, you feel me, so I can see y'all can see me. But it's more about what I'm saying anyway. Over in Black Fox News, we actually pride ourselves on giving y'all the truth. And I had to name it that because them folks at White Fox News don't. So it's only natural that they would hire somebody like a Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who's the press secretary for the Trump administration. After Sean Spicer, you know, that he couldn't handle it. All the shit that was coming at him, motherfucker was short, stocky, used to turn red off of getting grilled about the fuck shit that Trump is doing. Now, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, on the other hand, she's actually a great liar. Like, she's an excellent liar. So it makes sense that Fox News would want to recruit her. But this continues the revolving door relationship between the Trump administration and Fox News. I mean, you're talking about over 20 people that have held positions at White Fox News and at the White House. So, but keep this in mind that, you know, the White Fox News, they're like the closest thing to state-run media that we have. Like, you know what I mean? That's the type of shit that you see in like communist countries or whatever, that these motherfuckers have denounced. All they do is dick eat Republicans. Green War and Graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. Now, shout out to Dolores Huerta. 89-year-old legendary civil rights activist, union organizer. She, along with 7 other union members from the Service Employees International Union, they were outside of the Fresno County Board of Supervisors in Fresno, California, and they ended up getting arrested, ringing cowbells, causing disruption. And when asked to disperse by police, they weren't. That's how they got arrested. What were they protesting? So basically, they were calling for a raise for 500 home health care workers who haven't seen a raise in over a decade. They wanted a $1 raise. The supervisors offered them a 10-cent raise. Now, keep in mind, and Huerta later told reporters and all of that, like, yo, these supervisors are making $100K, and these workers haven't seen a raise in 11 years. Like, something has to give. They are currently being paid the minimum wage of Cali, which is $12 an hour. Green Wall and Graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report, man. Make sure y'all sign my petition too, yo. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrant716. It's out exactly why you should be removed from that platform. Violating Twitter policies, putting us, people abroad, U.S. troops in danger. You know what I'm saying? Starting trade wars, real wars, all types of shit like that. You know what I'm saying? At least being close to doing so. In many instances. So you got to cut that out without any accountability on some, like, you just going to troll as a president. Get the fuck out of here. Now check this out though. Over in Hong Kong, actually, thousands of people actually marched towards the business and financial district, including a lot of accountants. We're talking about like, at least 5,000 people, including a lot of accountants. You know, people, you know, some of these people were wearing masks to hide from their employers or whatever, but basically demanding, you know, pro-democracy protests or whatever, that all stem from that whole extradition bill thing. China's actually pressuring Hong Kong businesses to denounce these pro-democracy demonstrations, but you know, millions of people been taken to the streets all summer about this shit. We'll see what happens. Green Wall and Graduation.